All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I'm here this early morning, somewhere just a little bit before 6 o'clock. And I wanted to speak to you and talk to you about a few things. I want to entitle this video, The Facts of Life. The Facts of Life. What I'm going to say, if you've been listening to me any length of time whatsoever at all, you're not going to find it strange to your ears. However, if you are new to my channel, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to keep this as elementary as possible so that I do not lose you. Because after all, if I'm going to communicate effectively, it does not do myself nor you any good to speak over the level of comprehension that we have. And I use that because I don't want to at any time, I do not want to at any time have the appearance that I'm talking down to anyone. I really truly don't, because after all, my life has literally been dedicated to helping people, literally. And it's a painful journey. We live in a world, and I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times, but we live in a world where you and I both, when we parted the matrix, when we came out of our mother's womb, all right, this system was already in place. Chances are your parents, my parents, have all been conditioned by this system. They have been trained very well by the system. The system that we were all brought up in had already had this thing figured out concerning political, secular, religious, and economic. Every facet of life, government, everything has already been figured out, and none of this required our input. We couldn't give any input. We was not here. So, like good little mindless minions that we are, meaning that we have never exercised any self-autonomy at all whatsoever at all, because most people are comfortable with the system that allows them to be dependent on it. And listen to me very closely, dependent upon it. Now, let me interject something at the very beginning of this video right here, and I'm going to state a fact based on experience. You know, I remember in the military, and I've accomplished a few things, you know what I mean, in the military. I went to a couple of special skills schools, and I quickly learned as a young man that if you are going to accomplish anything in this life, you cannot accomplish it by yourself. No way. Government needs people. People need governing. And the best governing is being able to govern yourself so that you'll be able to know what the truth is about whatever government it is. But I quickly learned that you cannot accomplish anything by yourself, and you need people to motivate you. Not only motivate you, but you need people who have a high level of character and have discovered the truth. Now let's fast forward here for a second. We live in a system that has taught each and every last one of us to be dependent upon this, and they have trained us very well to function in it. That's the reason why we bite on the fruit of lies that says, okay, do this, go to school, do this, go to school, do this, go to school. And everything in this system is about education based on the system that they have given us. And the truth is, we're not being educated. We're being trained to function better in the system that they have given us. And we call ourselves educated. All right? No doubt that there's the Most High. There's a creator universe. There's one true, sovereign, supreme, omnipotent being. That is a fact. Of course, you may disagree. That's fine and good. But when you look at this system right here, this system has taught all of us from an economic perspective and point of view to be consumers. In other words, we are a nation of consumers that produce little and we consume more than we produce. All right? Listen to me for a second because I'm going somewhere. A nation like this just simply cannot continue to keep going. You need to ask yourself a question. And the question needs to be this is the question. What value do you add to yourself and others? Do you have a mentality to where you believe that everything is owed to you simply because you exist? If you are in some form of relationship, marriage, or whatever, in that marriage, do you believe that you're entitled to certain benefits simply because you are married? Here in America, we know that government, state marriages, they don't last long. It has to take something greater than government, states, marriages, and the conviction of the laws of this land made by carnal man to actually keep people together. Something has to greater and that has to bind us. What has to bind us is our word. Now here's the next question. When we're talking about the function of a community, a function of a tribe, a function of a nation, are we men and women of our word? Because the truth is, in many, many areas, many, many facets of life, we're totally dependent upon someone else for our living and for our function. And no doubt, people who have been called to different levels of higher calling, it is their duty and their obligation and their responsibility, given that they have been given wisdom, knowledge and understanding, comprehension, to make sure that they love themselves so that they will be able to truly love others. Is that not really the problem that we're having in the world today? Is that the reason why there's so much bitterness? The reason why there's so much ill will? The reason why there's so much jealousy? The reason why there's so much envy is because the truth is we have been taught to hate ourselves. And you know what teaches us to hate ourselves more than anything? The thoughts that enter into our mind when we start looking into that mirror. They could be true, they could be false. The bottom line is we have to ask ourselves, what value are we adding to ourselves as well as others? Because we live in a world, and no doubt that's the way that this world is shaped, and that's the way it's formed, of nothing but total direct consumerism. In other words, you believe you're entitled to consume while you produce nothing. And one day, the very system that you believe in, that ground that is beneath your feet, is going to give way. And if you don't change this attitude up here of consumerism to where you believe you're entitled, you believe everybody owes everything to you, when that ground is swept, you're going to fall into the pit. That's a fact. In other words, you have to change the way that you have been trained, coerced, and manipulated in this world in order to not only benefit you, but to benefit others. And then you have to be, if you're going to know others, you first have to be true to yourself. You really, truly are. You got to be true to yourself. There's an old saying in the world, birds of a feather flock together. Is there any truth to it? It could be. But you think about the company that you keep. You look at the nations, when we go back to the Hebrews, and then you have Mizraim, And then you had the Babylonians, and then the Assyrians, and the Medes, and the Persians, and the Greeks, and the Romans, and then the United States of America and its empire, which is nothing more than a revived Roman Empire. When you look at this nation can't function without somebody else submitting to somebody else, and everybody's doing their job. And when someone doesn't do their job, we're going to create a welfare mentality. That's where we're at today, to where we believe simply because we exist that everybody owes everything to you. Let me tell you the university of the painful truth. Number one, in this life, nobody owes you nothing. You are entitled to nothing. As painful as it, nobody owes you nothing. Because if you don't change your attitude and you do not change your spirit, the very thing that you believe that you're entitled to because of this consumer mentality, it may be taken away from you, then what? Do not ever depend on the benevolence of somebody else's righteousness or somebody else's conviction to carry you through this life right here, because remember, you are owed nothing. Sure, we have a law of contract and agreement. That's both naturally and spiritually here in this land. Believe me, I am trying my best to not speak way up above. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, all right? But if you are a person that adds no value, I can tell you right now, living on this community, we have been through a lot of people and only a few remain. And all the people that have left this community, they used to be at this community, the reason why they're here no more is because they add no value to us as a small tribe, a small group. Because we're 100% totally dedicated and sold out to the mission that we have in front of us, which is sanctification, set apartness, holiness, set apartness, and righteousness. Life is all about you investing into yourself so that you'll be able to produce and to help others. If you ever fall into the pit of selfishness, that's when, whether you were born again or not, you die. And most people will never overcome selfishness. You know how you know? All you have to do is watch their life. You know, for instance, you could have, let me use an example here of the community. You could have somebody that could be joined to us as a community that had no material wealth. All they had was themselves. But yet, when they come here, and after a couple of years, they still maintain through hard work and dedication. They give of themselves and they'll become a benefit to the tribe as a whole, to the body as a whole. That is a person that adds value. Now, the real question is this. What value do you add to your marriage? Are you in your role, or are you trying to usurp your role and make marriage work the way you think it ought to work based on the way you've been trained and conditioned through advertisement and TV, movies, social media network? Or have you actually done your own due diligence? Of course, you know I'm going to talk about the scriptures and see what the greatest book that has ever hit the planet Earth says, and you conform to it. Do you add value? No matter where you go, do you add value? Because if you add value, chances are you're going to strengthen someone else who will see your good works, and they will begin to glorify the creator of the universe. Because, you know, in this world of piss and boo-boo, it's a breath of fresh air to have someone who is completely dedicated and sold out. If I said this once, I said it 1,000 times. It's a sad, sad thing. Because you're so jacked up here. And you allow the previous experiences of your life to keep you jacked up rather than overcoming and being a better person It's a sad thing that you can't be a benefit not to yourself because you hate yourself, nor to others. And then you hold your rebellious, stubborn ground, digging your heels and your feet in because you believe that everything is owed to you. Everybody owes you something. I'm going to say it again. Nobody owes you nothing. You are entitled to nothing. You came into this world with nothing, and you will leave this world with nothing. All that's going to remain is whatever benefit, whatever value you have added to others, that will echo throughout all of eternity. But in order to do that, you got to change this. You watch America. We don't want to spend any time learning how to do anything for ourselves because we have an entitlement mentality. If I can go out and some way, somehow get some Federal Reserve notes and pay somebody to do something that I'm more than capable of doing myself, what value have you added to yourself? None whatsoever. You have missed out on one of the greatest mysteries that there is in this world, which is invest into yourselves. And the way you invest in yourselves is you amass knowledge to be able to perform so that you can add value to yourselves, and then you add value to those who you're responsible for. Because if you're a leader, you are responsible to those who are under your care. That's where the trustworthiness comes in. That's where the commitment comes in. That's where the cohesiveness comes in. That's where family, true family comes in. The one that is born of the Spirit. And then after that, we inherit the kingdom. You have to accept the painful truth that whatever you have done in life, no matter whatever it is, if it's not working, you have to accept that. You have to know what is wrong. Have you acquired real friends? Like I said before, it's a sad, sad thing that many of us have lived 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and we do not have one person in this world that we can call a friend. I'm talking about someone, a brother don't stick close. A brother is born for adversity. I'm talking about someone that will not compromise the integrity of the relationship because they will stick closer than a brother. Some of you are so close-minded and stuff and have so many walls up that you don't even know how to be a friend because you cannot show yourself friendly. But you expect everybody to acquiesce to you. You expect everybody to capitulate to you. You expect everybody to tolerate you in your wicked selfishness. And somehow, even if a few people did try to labor to be your friend, your world still is not any better. Are y'all beginning to get the picture here? Are you beginning to get the picture here? We live life 30, 40, 50 years and have not acquired any skills for survival. Hell, we don't even know what real wealth is in this country. We think Federal Reserve knows paper is real wealth. Oh, my. If you can't understand the economic system and the way that things are, how in the world can you understand any truth at all? Let me tell you something. Discovering yourself is probably one of the most painful things that there is. That's the reason why so many people run from it, because we would rather ignore it, put it on the shelf, than to actually look at it and to do something about it. We're stubborn people. But all hope is not lost, because out of this world of many, only a few will get it.